Okay, we continue our series of selections from HaChaim on Parshas HaShavua, and there's all the zchut, lirfua, Ariella, Rína, Bas Esther, betושח, Chol Yisrael, lirfua nefesh saguf, tekef umiyad. So now we are coming to the HaChaim on the words El Oretz Asher Areka, to the land that I will show you. So the HaChaim has three pshatim on this, on El Oretz Asher Areka. So the first one is pretty much echoed by many sources in Chazal and the other Meforshim, that he's not saying where he's going. That the land I will show you, and this is one of Avram's nisyonos. He's not even being told where he's going to go. Is he going to get up and do the mitzvah b'zrizus or b'simcha? Even though there's a lot of doubts, he doesn't know where he's headed. That's his first shot, and that line of thinking, everyone has their own little nuance of how to express it, is mentioned that is a very, very common shot on El Oretz Asher Areka, the land I'll show you, without specifying where that is. It's another test for Avinu's faith and doing Avodas Hashem b'simcha without any questions. That's his first shot. Then he says another interesting shot, that El Oretz Asher Areka is he's going to give him the koach to see it all. That's the lashon of the HaChaim over here by us. All right. Now, to fully understand what the HaChaim means to say what he's alluding to, he's promising you're going to have the koach to see it all. You would think, like, what's the big chiddush? Well, as we said actually earlier in this series, the HaChaims from this week, where did Avram Avinu actually get this promise fulfilled? Right, that he will see the entirety of the land as soon as Lot left. So what does it say over there? From there, where you're standing, just see Yama, Baken, Matzar, Benegba, look in all directions from where you are standing, says the HaChaim over there, and that's clearly what he has in mind over here. HaChaim over there says, take the pasuk very literally. From the place that Avram Avinu was standing, he had super panoramic vision that he could see all of Eretz Yisrael in all the directions. Now the HaChaim is willing to say over there that it wasn't just a gift of supervision, but literally the land actually kind of converged, all of it from all different directions to be in his line of sight. Right. So Minam Mokum Asher made from the place it was standing. So now, since the land actually converged, so it's like he had a din of chazaka on the land. It's like if you did Mashiach on the land, land is real estate. It's only nicknames either kesef shtar or chazaka. Over there, it's like he says, it's like a bigger than a king in chazaka. You get the land to move towards you. It's almost doing a mashiach on an inanimate object. If you call an animal to come to you, and you have permission from its owner to call it for the purpose of making it clear, that's also mashiach. To cause the animal to move in your direction. You don't have to physically actually pull it. As long as you cause that movement, it's with the intention of the seller to sell and for the buyer to buy. So I'm Avram with that, the land moving towards him so he could see it all, gave him a kinyan on the land. Now, that's what the HaChaim says over there on those. That's okay, when actually he's shown the land after Lot leaves. And that's what he's promising over here. I'm going to show you the land in a way no one had ever seen land before. You'll see all the land at once in a very, very miraculous way. And that's what he's promising him over here. Okay, the third pshat, which is the one which I want to dwell on today, because the HaChaim drops, he often does. He alludes to very, very big ideas with a very few short words. And over here he says, Asher Areka, right? So first of all, he makes a play on words, but you'll see what he means. Areka Lashon Ra'ui, he alludes to play words. I always wondered about that. whether Ra'ui, befitting, and Re'iyah from the same root. So over here, he just, he drops as a play on words to get to, then he goes back to what the Pasha Pshat, according to his third Pshat, really is. But, so it's like, Pirish Ra'ui Allah, Bata Ra'ui Allah. Right, it is Areka, first he's making, I understood just a play on words, that it is Ra'ui for you, is befitting for you, and you are befitting for it. But then he goes back and says, Bashir Tova Teva hu are oscha la vare oscha lach. But to be more literal, that I'm showing you the land. I'm also showing you to the land. Ashareka is like it's a meet and greet. So it's like Asher Eka is going both ways. You're going to see the land, and the land is going to see you. It's a shidduch. It's a shidduch where the two parties have to see each other. So it's the land which will be shown, and the shown is going both ways. So Ra'ui was, I understand, a play on words, but the way to take, read the pasuk a little bit more literally, is that the land that you will be shown, which will be shown, and it's two ways. The land is being shown to you, and you're being shown to the land, like a shidduch of two parties that are meant to be together, right? Why? Because he invokes the pasuk in Parshas Maseh, very interesting pasuk, which Chazal say an interesting drasha, which alludes to a very, very big fundamental concept. It says, the Torah warns us not to defile the land. Shani shochem b'socha, that I dwell in it. Ashani shochem b'socha, that I dwell in Bnei Yisrael. Do not defile the land that I dwell in it, for I dwell in Bnei Yisrael. So, dwell in the land, you dwell in Bnei Yisrael. Which is it? Do not defile the land that I dwell in it, that I dwell in Bnei Yisrael. So, ein hashchina shor el betoch Bnei Yisrael u'ba'odan la'aretz. Right? So, Chazal darshan, well, it's both. The Shechina is only dwells in a revealed way. It's talking about the Shechina is with us all the time. Kol Yisrael, Golsa Shechina Imayim, the Shechinta Begalusa, but it's hidden. The Shechina dwells openly only when you have two things together. Am Yisrael in Eretz Yisrael. Am Yisrael in Eretz Yisrael, and that's what the Torah is saying, don't defile the land. Did I dwell in it? Did I dwell in Bnei Yisrael? So it says, don't defile the land. So it's talking about the land. No, that I dwell in it, and I dwell in it because I dwell in Bnei Yisrael, and when you have the two together, right, the Shechina is revealed in Eretz Yisrael. Less than these two ingredients together. Am Yisrael in Eretz Yisrael, the Shechina is not revealed. Right, so there are Astareka, the land I'm going to, because it's like a shidduch, Am Yisrael and Eretz Yisrael. And we're going to get into this a little bit deeper in a second. It's like we are made for each other. We're befitting for each other. And this is like, the shiduchen, where the two parties have to meet each other and, understand that they are, as it were, being nizdavik, getting married, uniting. So this concept, the Shechina only dwells in Eretz Yisrael when Am Yisrael is there. Now, of course, the Shechina is everywhere in a hidden way, and there's more Kedushas HaShechina in certain places than others, even with the Shechina hidden. All right, and we're not going to get into that right now, but we're talking about to have the Shechina revealed, you need two things. You need Am Yisrael in Eretz Yisrael. You need the two together. One without the other, the Shechina is in hiding, right? And it's, it's secretively here, secretively there, and it's actually secretively everywhere, but in some places it, does things that it doesn't do elsewhere. Like I should just explain that. It'll take a second. Right, in Harabayas, you cannot go there Bizman Hazeh, right? And, even though we don't see the Shechina there, unfortunately, but we'll say no Rabin, but says the Rambam, the reason why, even though there's no base reason, it's still Kodesh, because Shechina ain't a betela, right? The Shechina is not annulled, and the Shechina gets, got absorbed there when we built the base of Mikdash. Shechina and betela, so that means it's hidden. It's there, but it's hidden, right? Shechina ain't a betela, because the Kedushas Harabayas comes from Kedushas Shechina ain't a betela. That means Shechina didn't leave. It's also Lashon Chazal that by the Kol Tamrabi Lo Zaza Shechina Me'olam. And there's also that concept of Shechinta Begalusa, and that's the secret of Jewish survival. The Shechina, so the fact that the Shechina dwells in Bnei Yisrael is only revealed when Am Yisrael is in Eretz Yisrael. Right? It's still with us in a hidden way, and that's the secret of Jewish survival and the goals. Right? But to have the two together, the Shechina revealed, you need Am Yisrael in Eretz Yisrael. Only with that combination, the Shechina is revealed. Right? Now, there's a to explain it a little bit more. There's a Gemara in Hanizakin by the Agaritas of Chorban Abayis. So there's this place called Tur Malka, right? Which, if you look it up, do the math, right? It was just an astronomical amount just of cities. Let alone calculate the people that were there. It's a number that would just go off the screen of your calculator, right? It's huge. It's a very big number, right? So it's a huge area, and that's one of the three major metropolises that got destroyed. Those Agaritas over there focus on three major centers that got destroyed by Chorban Bayis: Yerushalayim, Tur Malka, and Beitar. Right, so this place called Tur Malka had an astounding amount of people there. It's like there's also an amazing amount of just cities concentrated there, and let alone how big those cities were and how many inhabitants there were. Gemara does the math over there. It's a number that's too big for me to imagine. Okay, so the Gemara goes on to say that one of the Amoraim, visited the area, many years after Chorban Bayis, said, "This is what they're talking about. This whole area wouldn't even hold 600,000 reeds, like thin reeds. Wouldn't even hold 600,000 reeds." All right. So the Gemara answers and explains that Eretz Yisrael is called Eretz Hatzvi, the land of the deer. They're just like a deer. When it's alive, it's quite a big, bulky, muscular animal, and and its skin somehow is able to hold, encompass all that, flesh and muscle and and bones. But once you skin it after it's dead, you can never piece it back together again. Ein oro machzikas besoro. It's an amazing thing that when the deer is alive, right, you have this phenomenon that it's skinned, that you can never stretch over its carcass. If you ever skin the carcass, you'd never be able to stretch the skin over it again. Right, but when it's alive, it's, so also when Am Yisrael is in Eretz Yisrael, it's the Jewish presence in the land of Israel gives the land of Israel this capacity to encompass. Right. So now think about that. What this means, and the depth of the analogy that Chazal say from the deer. I mean, the deer is as big as it is. Just miraculously, as a word, the deer is bigger on the inside than on the outside, because we try to stretch that amount of skin over its dead carcass. Right. Won't be able to do it. And yet, when it's alive, it has the life factor. It's an amazing phenomenon that the same amount of skin holds that an amazing amount of flesh and muscle. Amazing thing, right? So now also, Tur Malka, when Am Yisrael is in Eretz Yisrael, which is what we just referring to, it all of a sudden exhibits tremendous amounts of space. Now, this space, it means that, think about it, it's bigger on the inside than on the outside, right? It's not the pshat that when Am Yisrael is in Eretz Yisrael, as it should be, b'mhero b'yameinu, there'll be kibbutz golios, and Am Yisrael b'Eretz Yisrael, that Eretz Yisrael is going to expand, and it's going to crash into Lebanon and crash into Egypt and crash into, because it's got to hold all those people. No, miraculously, space opens up within Eretz Yisrael. It's space from another dimension, and it's the life factor, right? It's like when the deer is alive, right? It's somehow bigger on the inside than it is on the outside, right? And when the deer is dead and there's a histalkus of that HaChaim, you can't duplicate that, right? So Am Yisrael and Eretz Yisrael have a body-soul relationship. Eretz Yisrael is also called Artzos HaChaim, Eretz HaChaim, right? It's called the land of life. That's, it means Eretz Yisrael. It also means Olam Haba, but it also means Eretz Yisrael. It's called Eretz HaChaim, the living land. It's alive. The land is alive. The neshama of Eretz Yisrael is Am Yisrael. The neshama of Eretz Yisrael is Am Yisrael. The Shechina dwells in Am Yisrael. So the Am Yisrael and the Shechina have a body-soul relationship. Which, by the way, the reason why the Shechina dwells in Am Yisrael is because of Matan Torah, as the Medrash says in Parshas Truma. With the Torah, we got the Shechina. And so the Torah, which comes accompanied by the Shekhinah, and Am Yisrael have a soul-body relationship. The Torah and the Shekhinah that comes with it is like our national soul. Shachanti b'socham, and Am Yisrael is the body of that national soul. And we have that relationship again with Am Yisrael and Eretz Yisrael, that Am Yisrael is the soul of Eretz Yisrael. So the land is dead when Am Yisrael is not there. The HaChaim, I do believe, brings this also over here, right here, that as a function of Am Yisrael not being in Eretz Yisrael, the land doesn't produce. It was barren, like we see even in most recent history. All these years that we were in exile, and it was very little Jewish presence. The land was so barren, right? And then Am Yisrael started coming back, and now the land produces. The desert blooms and technology. We haven't reached the level of like Tur Malka, right? But it's we see this with our own eyes, right? The land is dead without Am Yisrael, and when Am Yisrael is there, so Am Yisrael will have the Shekhinah in them. And now Eretz Yisrael will have the Shekhinah in it through Am Yisrael, right? And then with that, the land goes alive, it blooms, there's bracha, there's shefa, and there's also extra space. And the extra space is coming from a higher dimension, right? It's so nifla v'noira. So the root of it all is the Torah that's by Am Yisrael, that brings the Shekhinah to Am Yisrael, right? And Am Yisrael puts that koach into the land, and the land goes alive. And when it goes alive, it's like the deer being alive, that it could miraculously hold more. It's bigger on the inside than on the outside. Eretz Yisrael is that way also. That extra space comes from a different dimension. That's why it disappears as soon as Am Yisrael is exiled from Eretz Yisrael, Rahman al-Tzan. And it all follows suit. Revised Chaver says on a famous Gemara, Almav the arts, Vayomar Hashem al-Azim is Torasi, without going through the whole, how the Gemara goes through those psukim, that HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself had to explain how Eretz Yisrael got seriously desolate, right? But right, of the arts, also is Torasi. Am Yisrael left the Torah, right? So it says Revised Chaver, in light of what we're saying, you could read the Gemara more, the pasuk, and what the Gemara is saying a lot more. Land got lost. Eretz Yisrael used to be much bigger, as per Tur Malka. Used to hold an astronomical amount of people. Now it doesn't even hold 600,000 reeds. Held 600,000 cities, right? Something like that. Figure, right? Land got lost. We're missing space. Because the Torah that dwells in Am Yisrael, and Am Yisrael puts that koach into land, causes more space to open up. And that's rooted in the fact that, our own, which is the makom of the Torah, Eno Minami, doesn't take up space. Right? And, we could go on and on and on. But the point is that Am Yisrael and Eretz Yisrael have a neshama guf relationship. We are the neshama of Eretz Yisrael, and our national guf is Eretz Yisrael, right? And that's why the land goes alive, and that's why the land opens up extra space that comes from the life force of the Shekhinah that's in Am Yisrael because of the Torah, which therefore inhabits Eretz Yisrael when Am Yisrael is in Eretz Yisrael, and that's how the land goes alive, and there's much more space. So Am Yisrael and Eretz Yisrael were made for each other like body and soul. Am Yisrael being the soul, and Eretz Yisrael being the body that holds it. And of course, this koach is only exhibited in Eretz Yisrael, right? Eretz Yisrael is the only land that could absorb the koach of the Shekhinah that dwells in Am Yisrael. No, Chutz La'aretz can't. And that's why you'll never have this phenomenon of extra space opening up in Chutz La'aretz, no matter what type of Jewish concentration you have there, and no matter how much Limud HaTorah there is there. That happens in Eretz Yisrael, right? That the Limud HaTorah calls HaShosh Shekhinah in Am Yisrael, and Am Yisrael puts that HaShosh Shekhinah into the land, and in that comment you have mamish extra space manifest. And with this, you understand, is from a sefer called Orach Chachma, from one of the Talmidim of the Baal Shem Tov. It's a very chachma sefer, the Orach Chachma. I don't know if it's in print. Excellent sefer. So he says, in Parshas that Chutz La'aretz Moshe Chetzi, it's only half the land, because there's many more dimensions than the 3 dimensions, right? But those extra dimensions are what we call, for lack of a better word, spiritual, right? These are spiritual dimensions, but in Eretz Yisrael becomes mamish manifest. So Eretz Yisrael is like all the dimensions of reality. When Am Yisrael is in Eretz Yisrael, those other dimensions reveal themselves and open up. That's the extra space. Chutz Aretz is only Chetzi Oretz. It's only 3 dimensions. The other dimensions don't open up over there. Okay, so this is just a mixus of what the Or HaChaim is alluding to, and that's what Hashem says, Areka, and again, leave it to the audience whether Ra'ui and Re'i are from the same root. So he first uses as a play on words, the land that's roy for you and you're roy for it. But he says, but Shira Teva, the way to read it more literally is Areka, that will be shown, but means shown both ways. You see the land sees you. It's like a shidduch, 2 halves meant for each other. And by the way, I'll drop you a hint. Zor in Parshas Chayei says man and woman. Shidduch also, if it's a happy marriage, it's meant to be, also having the neshama guf relationship. The man is connected in the integrated unit of Vayulu Basar Echad. Vayikra Shmam Adam, the Zachar is connected to the neshama, and the woman is connected to the guf, and that's so ishto ke gufo. Right? A lot to think about. We'll stop here. Everyone have a wonderful Shabbos, and all this should be a zchus, a refuah shlema for Ariella, Rína, Bas, Esther, for refuah shlema, immediately. Betושח Yisrael. Amen. Can you write